This is not what you call normal Lake Michigan conditions. Extraordinarily calm on Memorial Day. It is also extremely hot. But this is abnormally calm. And now I'm going to show you what is normal conditions for Lake Michigan. I just went out of what is known as the hole in the wall onto the big lake, and there was a pretty good breeze coming out of the northwest on this day, which was June 3rd, 2018. Winds were 10 to 12 miles per hour. They had actually predicted for wind gusts to get into the 20s, but it wasn't. Didn't get that bad, and this is pretty much what you saw was typical for our entire 7-mile voyage back to Portage. Took off out of Portage to Little Calumet River, and I was running anywhere between 22 and 25 miles per hour the entire way. So this is really just typical. This is, I would say, a normal day, not a rough day in Lake Michigan. Southern Lake Michigan. You can see I'm running with my Nitro Z20 2018. Props to Schnelker Marine for that ride. And it handled it just fine, and most bass boats would handle these conditions just fine if you don't go too fast. You'll see it's still pretty bumpy, but at 20-25 miles per hour, everything was just fine. Most of these waves are only about 1.5 feet tall to 2.5 feet tall. They're fairly close together. Now you might have noticed when we came out of the hole in the wall that it was a little choppier than it is right now. And the reason being is because the waves were really bouncing into the seawalls right outside that point. And what happens is those waves hit those seawalls and then they come back. They bounce back and hit the other waves that are coming into it. So you kind of get a dishwasher effect anytime you're running around any kind of seawall or rock wall with the waves rolling into it. As we get back to the Portage Harbor, you'll notice again that it gets bumpier. The waves get a little more chaotic. Right now I'm kind of able to get in a groove and predict the waves and adjust the throttle as I go up and down the waves and so forth. Something everyone should keep aware of and consider if they're going to be on big bodies of water like Lake Michigan or any other big body of water that's going to be bouncy like this is the abuse on your boat. Now, what you're seeing here is not going to destroy any boat on the first time, but you're going to have screws come loose. You're going to have screws that are holding your trolling motor in place, your rub rail, talons or power poles if you got them, the screws holding your outboard on there, screws holding your windshield on or your hot foot. So that is a constant maintenance that we have to take care of. You have to take care of if you're going to be on bodies of water running around like this. None of this is going to jolt you and kill you and eject you, but you do this for a handful of times and you're going to have things coming loose that you don't want to fall off. Not to mention, it can take a beating on your back. At this point in time, you'll notice that waves are getting a little choppier, a little more difficult to navigate, and it's because right up there in front of us is the Portage the Portage Port, and waves are hitting some of the rock walls around and bouncing back. So they're kind of coming from both directions, which doesn't necessarily make them bigger, but beats you up a little bit more since you got waves coming from your left and your right. Notice the water coloration I'm hitting right here. That is the water flowing in from the Little Calumet River. They got considerable rain the night before, and as we were idling out that morning, we saw full-grown trees floating on its way out to the big lake. So you always want to keep an eye out, very keen eye out, for floating debris. You hit one log out in that big lake, and you are in a world of hurt. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe. I'd love to see your comments underneath, or if you have questions, I'd love to hear them.